For some reason, there's a delay in these starting up, and the first few sentences or first few words are cut off. So, assuming it's starting now, okay, it's working. The plan I came up with yesterday, it's working. It's spreading like wildfire. There's already thousands of people doing it, and the only thing I'm upset about is I never thought about this sooner. But then again, this is the pivotal time to do this. This is the right time to do this because we're at a critical juncture here. This was exemplified by I posted on one Irish on Twitter, one Irish newspaper site. I posted about like, well, colleges and universities have to close down as well as schools permanently. They're just infection zones. It's the only way forward is permanent lockdown, and the government must start now serious about thinking about banning all retail, pubs and cafes permanently. And this one guy came on with, and he lost his mind. He was like, "We're going feckin' mad here. This is crazy talk. We can't be thinking like this. We have to get our lives back." Well, sure enough, I go down his tweets. 6 months ago, it said, "Stay at home, you feckin' muppets." That's what he posted. "Stay at home, you feckin' muppets." It was during the some lockdown thing. 6 months later, he's screaming for the end of it. In the meantime, I noticed that he became less zealot about it to the point where we're now at the point where the ones who were zealot about it 6 months ago, mainly because of media programming, are now they're now losing it. They're now losing it, and this is important for people in the music business and who are watching these. And I know I have a lot of kind of quite famous people who follow me, and the music pages, to like if you could say things like, you know, we'll never go to gigs ever again, and it's probably the right thing. These are target rich environments to target people consciousness to get them. What we see, what I'm doing with this is, it's a shamanic thing, right? You know the way the shaman puts on the costume of the lion or the elk and invokes the animal spirit power. Well, I'm wearing the pelt and you're wearing the pelt of the Karens, what they call the Karens, the stay at home, save lives, save the NHS types, of them to invoke their power. Now, when I thought about this plan yesterday morning, I'm not joking you, I'd felt the best I had felt in since the lockdown begun. I felt genuinely positive that this was a synchronistic move by the universe and the fact that thousands of you all agreed with this shows that it immediately struck home. Yes, this is the answer. Black propaganda, out normie the normies. And it's working. I'm having tremendous results because what the purpose of this is of, you know, wearing the pelt of the Karens is to take the ones who are at the critical juncture at this moment and have absolutely are crawling the walls and have them weaponized against the stay home, save lives, save the NHS types, and wear a mask, these types. And this creates a momentum and a shift in the zeitgeist that, we want. See, politicians, the thing is that politicians are off, we know they're all liars and everything, but a politician never wants what he his or her agenda to come to full fruition. Because if it did, that meant his job is over or her job is over. So although they talk about lockdowns and they have us terrified about waves of pandemics, if we said, "Oh, okay, fair enough, we'll shut down everything," then that's the worst thing they want to hear because it's not long because you're giving closure to them and closure to their ideas. So this is terrifying politicians. It's terrifying all of them actually. I could see it. The only ones that's not bothered by it are these gamers who sit at home all day taking antidepressants. But they're not. They're delighted with the lockdown. But everyone else, as well as like the local neighborhood Gestapo who polices everyone. Are you social distancing those types? We have to turn the on the fence the semi sentient normies against them. And it's working already. Now, a great target-rich environment is your local town and community pages, because every single one of them has the local asshole, a fucking loser simp who never did anything with his life. He's probably between 30 and 45. He thinks he's an expert on science because he watched a few videos on YouTube, and he's the one. He's the local asshole in your neighborhood or town. He'll be on your town heritage pages, all the and he'll set himself up. He's never done anything or achieved that. He's never played in a band. He's never written a book. He's never done stand up comedy. He's never done anything. But this classic weapon, these types are classically weaponized by totalitarianism. So therefore, he's the the self-elected local COVID commissar on all the town and heritage pages. And anyone who says, "Oh, let me see that photograph of the main street all shut up, closed up. We really need to get it back." He will come in there like, "Oh, you moron! Who are you? This is science. It has to stay shut down. What are you on about?" And if someone puts up a robust defense against it, he or she will be the type. It's nearly always a he though. Will go down their page and look for something that I think that can be incriminating against them. Oh, you once went on a ghost hunt, so you believe in ghosties, but you don't believe in science. These are the ones we have to make the average person see as an enemy. And so if they're on your town pages, along with you calling for permanent lockdown, the abolition of school, colleges, universities, and sports to save us from the oncoming pandemics, you have to also agree with those types. So therefore, you turn the people against them as well. We pushed, this is how this is a totalitarian. If you look at what happened in the Hungarian Revolution, it's a classic example of what's going on now. When the Soviets invaded Hungary, there was these Hungarians who showed up and were willing to help the Soviets police their own people. And when the revolution happened and the Soviets were kicked out, I think it was 67 or 57, I think it was 57, I don't know when it was, but whenever, they were mercilessly attacked by the locals for being not only because they were traitors to the Hungarian people, but they relished in their they were failures in Hungarian society. But when the Soviets came in, they were superstars in the oppression of their own people. And those ones you see on your town and heritage pages who were like slagging people off or wanting their communities back, these are the same types. We have to not only go on these pages and say only permanent lockdown is possible, but also to agree with everything and defend those types too. We have to make pariahs of them, especially to turn to people, and it'll be done very quickly because there's a lot of grudges against those. There's a lot of silent grudges because people are, they're afraid this guy will like go down. Will say, "Oh, in a small town, they'll say something like, oh, is that why your wife left you 3 years ago?" This is what those types are like. They're scum. They're evil scum because this fake morality that's given to them by being a self-autonomated policeman or policewoman of the neighbours and the locals online, because you wouldn't have the balls to do it to their face. We go for these as well. And that's how we go for them. We go for them by agreeing with them. And people have been doing this, and they tell me they feel amazing. It's the first time since the lockdown began that they feel in control of something again, and it's working. Another target-rich one, a very good one, is sports ones. I've been going on to so many sports pages on Twitter and everywhere, and on social media, and I've been saying things like one of them. I'm really proud of this one. I was on an English soccer group or something like that, and I said something like. I have to say, at first, I didn't like the empty stadium, seeing all those empty seats. But now I've come to see them in a really positive light. Not only are they not places where people will spread pandemics, but we can finally really appreciate the beautiful architecture of these modern stadiums. Oh my God, they went fucking mental. They went mental. Now, it's important not to use curse words, not to use all caps, and not to use exclamation marks. And don't push it too far. Does it look, as I said, look at the ones who are plausible, and don't give them, give them names that are plausible. John McGee, or, don't have them something called like, I don't know, N Army or something, N-O Army or something like that. Give it the plausible names if you're using names. And especially, I've been, any of the university and college pages talk about how university campuses are murder zones or they're infection zones. How, as a parent, can I honestly send my child ever to a university or college campus, knowing that they're just between the faculty and the students? They're they're killing fields. Potential, I mean, and the same professors are in these colleges are all telling us that lots of pandemics are coming. So why are we even? Why is university and college campuses even a part of life? With modern technology, there's no reason for someone to be a professor in a university or a college anymore, and government funds should be channeled in order to retrain universities and professors and faculty towards new careers outside education. And this is why teachers have to be retrained. It should be a major cause of governments now is to end education as we've known it. Have everyone from kindergarten to end of university educated in front of the computer, and we can have we don't even have to have real professors anymore because that's very expensive. We can have deep fakes, and we can have virtual professors. Why do we need a real professor when we have a virtual one that doesn't cost any salary? So look, just think how good it will be for stopping from all these future pandemics the same professor telling us about. This is the thing. The professors, these technocrats love talking about and getting their scumbag professors to talk about another wave of a pandemic, another variant strain. But what they don't actually want is for that to fully come, for you to go to the next level and say, well, then we have to close down all universities because as a professor, you're in danger to your students and your students are in danger to you and your family. Will stay home, save lives, educate, and they keep, they're very quick to say to artists, to musicians, to stand-up comics, to actors, very quick to say, well, maybe you should retrain for a new business. Well, let's spin that round and pay these cunts back in their own coin by saying, what's the difference between a college professor in a lecture hall, and the difference between that and someone on a stage doing a stand-up gig or playing in a band? Isn't it exactly the same? Isn't it exactly the same? Shouldn't we retrain you, professor, for your new career, considering that you standing in front of a classroom or on a lecture hall is exactly the same as a band in a small venue? We've got, like I said, pay these, and they are cunts, pay these cunts back in their own coin. They want you to only go as far as no further extrapolations than what they are posing upon you. To see people talking to someone whose life has been the creation of music, the making people happy with stand-up comedy, actors, their thespian lives about standing on the stage and delivering, and they're being told, well, you could always go downtown and do a Microsoft Word course. Well, fuck you. These same people deserve that right back to them, and this is part of this whole this black propaganda we're working, and we can also do the same. Why do we even have a government building anymore? Why can't we have deep fake virtual politicians? Do we even need a political representative anymore? AI can take care of that. We have to turn it around, and it's. I can see it working because there's two vested interests in here. There's the Karens, what they call the Karens, the stay-at-home lockdown normies, and the other side is the what I call big lockdown. Just like I had big oil and big tobacco, you've got big lockdown now. These are people lining their pockets, their egos and their reputation and their narcissism on big lockdown. College professors that are on TV all the time, journalists, politicians, senior civil servants. Big lockdown. Big lockdown is Amazon. Big lockdown is all that. A lot of the IT companies, the gaming companies, Netflix is big lockdown, and Professor Luke O'Neill is big lockdown. Unless we have to see them the same way as big oil or big tobacco, the same way as a behemoth that serves its own interest and not the interest of society. And again, the best way to expose this is by black propaganda. Is to say things like, I've been going on to in pages in the UK and I've been saying things like, and this is true. The if you've been hearing me saying for years that the NHS is the state religion of the UK. The NHS is the state religion of the UK. Like when they lost Christianity, they worshipped the NHS. And that's absolutely true. Now, COVID turned the NHS into a cult. The NHS is no longer the church of the UK. It is the Hezbollah. It is the Heaven's Gate. It is the branch branch. I don't even remember the real branch Davidians or whatever they fucking call it. It's branch Davidians for me forever now of the UK, and so and people have come to actually worship it as a living entity. Now, this is a thing you can. We can there's other people are saying it's just a health service. This kind of thing. Now, and those ones, the normies, we have to say, like I've said things like, it's much more important that we save the NHS than to save Britain, and that got people going. What do you mean save the NHS? And I was saying, look, it's the NHS is the only thing that should matter right now and forever. And that's for the first time ever. I've seen people saying, look, the NHS is a great thing for Britain, but it's not, it's just a health service. Now, 6 months ago, they'd have been banging the pots. You see how it's working? It's what you're doing is you're taking them, when you do this, black propaganda, is you're taking them to the place that the politicians and even they themselves don't want to go to. The terminal moment, the abyss of the reality of their own bullshit. They do not want to go there. And what we're doing with this black propaganda is we're getting the normies on the fence to cross the abyss and see just how dark things have become. They're not aware of it. Yes, they still believe that the media loves them. They still believe that politicians are all wonderful. They believe that this time Dr. Tony Holohan is the great guy and, he is doing the right thing. He's not lying and this kind of thing. We have to cross them over into the abyss with this by taking them to their darkest fears. And their darkest fear is they're not going to open up. That was the thing. That they've only kept the normies on board by having this carrot dangled in front of them that we're opening up one day. Our job as black propagandists is to make sure that the normies are aware that they're never going to open up. Never going to open up. And then we're already getting, I can see it, we're sowing the seeds. And the great thing about it is they don't know who is doing it. This is why don't tell anybody who your name is or anything. Tell a friend in an email, but don't boast about or publicly boast about who you are in these groups. There's so many, even if someone says there's some arsehole on the internet is organising this kind of black propaganda thing of a permanent lockdown. Even if that happens, they don't know who any of us are. There's thousands of us now already. In 24 hours, there's already thousands of us doing this. And it's spreading like wildfire, and it's already getting a huge effect already. This is it. This for decades they've used this shite on us, and I've always said to you, it's no use sitting there blessing yourself and mauling your rosary beads. You have to fight back with the same shit at them, and you have to out Edward Bernays, the Edward Bernayses, and this is the way we're doing it. And it's also, I'm telling you, a lot of you already said you've had the best fun on the internet you've had in years. And the more restrained you are and the better you get at it, the more fun it is. If you can write out a paragraph that plausibly calls for no more schools and the abolition of teaching, and do it in such a way that it comes across as a rational, well-constructed sentence, and you will have the biggest smile on your face and the best you've felt in a whole year. And if that doesn't tell you the universe is on our side, nothing will. Because I'm telling you something, as soon as you are in your dharma and in the groove and doing the right thing, you get this rush, this feeling of elation and liberation. And guess what? That happened right after I made the video yesterday, and it's still continuing. And let's continue it on until we get our fucking freedom back. Love yous all. Bye. Fucking freedom.